Hey fam, it's me, Cody Lane Oliver, co-creator of Black Love and proud Howard grad. I'm just popping in to say thank you so much for listening and to share a little something that our friends at Target are doing to help uplift the next generation of Black talent. Target is teaming up with HBCUs to create Target's HBCU Design Challenge, where students submit designs to be included in Target's Black History Month collection. Plus, winners also receive a cash prize, equipment, mentoring, and networking opportunities. Make sure you check back during Black History Month to see all of the winners' designs that will be featured in Target's 2022 Black History Month collection. Celebrate your legacy, invest in the future. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Visit target.com/Black Beyond Measure to learn more about Target's commitment to HBCUs. Welcome to my new BFF, part of the Black Love Podcast Network. I'm Cody Lane Oliver, mama to 3, wife to 1, and co-creator of the Black Love docuseries and Black Love Inc. And today I have someone who has been a favorite of mine, like literally forever, as long as I've been aware of you. She is a veteran both in front of and behind the camera, and is an all-around marketing guru. You may have caught her conducting interviews with everyone from Essence to XO Nicole and the Recording Academy to social justice pieces for BET and Brio. It is the one and only Dana Blair. Rah!
Yay! It's so hard for me to hear people say things about me.
It's true, though. It's true. I'm such a fan. Like, I'm happy and grateful to be your friend, but I'm a fan too.
Yes, you're my boo. That makes me blush. Thank you.
So before we talk about how we met, which I don't even know if I remember, so we're gonna have to figure that one. Oh, I do remember. Okay. Before we do that,
I remember.
I'm all about love, so I want to know who has taught you the most about love in your life, good or bad.
Oh gosh, my parents, who were married for 23 years and they've been divorced now about 24. My parents taught me a lot, directly and indirectly, about partnership and love. And then I had a crazy ex-boyfriend who taught me a lot about setting boundaries. Unintentionally taught me a lot about setting boundaries. And I'm dating someone now.
Hey, I like it.
Who indirectly is teaching me a lot about communication. And sometimes you're not as healed as you think you are.
That's a fact. Come on now. Sometimes we're not as healed from most things as we think we are.
Yeah, because, and also too, like, when you're going, and you have other distractions. There's COVID. I'm a freelancer, so I'm constantly trying to, juggle projects and pitching myself and family and things like that. Sometimes you think you've moved on from something and you haven't really, just because you're moving on doing other things. So
yeah, good.
I'm learning a lot.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do we know each other? So just to be clear, Dana, like I said, has been doing all of these amazing interviews live and virtually for a very long time. And I didn't know her backstory, which she'll share a little bit now, but I just saw her, especially with me with this Black Love platform. I would see you online doing interviews and just your personality. And I loved if y'all don't know, Dana is bald, but her hashtag is long hair, don't care. And I just love it so much. And so I saw this energy constantly whenever I was looking at fun events that I missed. I would see clips and stuff on the internet. And we met at a panel that I was on pre-COVID, but like a month or so before, right? Like 2 months, like it was 2020.
Was it 2020?
Or late 2019?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I can't tell because LA doesn't have seasons.
Yeah, that part.
But yeah, it was like,
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
But I know that I thought you were a New Yorker, and I see you at this event, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Dana Blair.
Which totally caught me off guard because honestly, and people get shocked when I say this, I feel invisible. I genuinely feel invisible. So you were like, oh, your name is Dana Blair. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have to unpack invisible Dana, okay?
I was like, yeah. And I'm just sitting there with my cocktail in the corner like, yeah.
I was so excited to meet you, for sure.
I was so excited as well. It's always nice. It's flattering. And especially when it comes from people that you respect, So, yeah.
Yeah. So that was, sometime before the pandemic. Could have been 98, could have been 2019.
Who knows?
So actually, Dana, you and I did this, my new BFF conversation, early quarantine, while we were still developing this series. And of course, we were talking about lockdown and all of that.
Right.
But, now that we're having a chance to do this again and properly, how has the last year and a half been for you? Like, what has changed since, and just to recall, at the top of quarantine, what I remember was that you were booked and busy. Blessed, booked and busy. Yes, on the internet.
Really I'm not as booked right now. I'm like, what am I going to do? So definitely trying to figure that out and figure out what that looks like, because just the landscape has changed so much. And also, if you're just like constantly on social media, you're kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I find social media really draining right now. I find it heavy, especially like being inside and all of that stuff. So I've been taking a lot of social media breaks just for my own mental health. But at the same time, that's not necessarily been the best thing for me work-wise. So that's been a little difficult. But I moved twice in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes, you did.
So I was at first, I drove across the country to start a project in Atlanta. And then like 2 weeks later,
from LA to Atlanta.
From LA.
Right? Uh-huh.
Yes. And then like 2 weeks later, the world shut down. I quarantined with my father for like 3 months. Then I went back into Atlanta. I was there.
Wait. Left Atlanta, went to Louisiana to quarantine with your dad.
Yes, because I was going to start this job. And then when everything was shutting down, I was like, I'd rather be quarantined with my dad, with family, just from, mental health reasons and health reasons, versus like signing a new lease and all of that stuff. So just for various logistical reasons. And so then I was in New Orleans for 3 months. Then I went back to Atlanta, finished out my contract. And then I was like, the world's still shut down. Everybody's doing everything from their living rooms. I've always wanted to live in Chicago. I've loved this city since like 2008, when I had my first big girl marketing project here with John Bon Jovi. It's a long story.
Hey. Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna move to Chicago for a little while and see what it's about. So that's where I am now.
Okay, so that's a lot, though. That's a whole year and a half of life that happened just then. And there's a lot of things I want to like revisit and unpack. Okay, so if I recall at the top of quarantine, I mean, literally like EXO, Nicole, The Griot, like countless outlets had you interviewing celebrities for various reasons, and in political conversations. Like, I mean, I was seeing you everywhere. And I feel like what I remember you saying was that was like humbling. Like, you were very happy about it, but you were also like, a little nervous. Like, what's next? What does this mean? What does my career look like?
Right.
And so how do you feel like, and then to hear you say that sometimes you feel invisible. So I really want to talk through this. How do you see yourself and your talents?
I feel like I'm finally comfortable saying I'm really good at what I do.
Okay. I like it.
I am very good at what I do, and I bring a unique skill set to what I do. I have theater training and dance training background, business background, and that improv and ability to be able to think on my feet, as well as I make people feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable now saying I'm good at what I do. Before, I was like, I didn't want to come off braggadocious and that kind of thing, and sometimes I question myself as well, because you look. I don't know if anybody else does this, but oftentimes you look for external validation as to whether or not you really are good at what you do. If you're not getting called for certain jobs, or you're getting certain pushback on certain things. So it was very humbling, and it helps because it didn't matter if I was in New York or LA. Nobody had to fly me in. I could do everything from my living room. But at the same time, you're constantly thinking about what's next. I'm not represented by anyone. I'm not considered big enough in terms of a social media following. So you're figuring out how long do I continue to pursue this?
Yeah.
What do I want for my life as a whole? I'll be 40 in December. Like, I'm thinking about all of these different things, short term and long term. And so, and I'm an overthinker. I'm also an overthinker. I will overthink something to within an inch of its life.
Yeah. Well, I think too, what you're saying is probably a parallel for a lot of like entrepreneurs and creatives. Right. And especially in this social media society, like what I'm hearing you say, and I feel the same way, like sometimes you just don't want to be on social media. But
No.
in order to do some of the things that we do, you have to have a presence, you have to be consistent. And so, how do you feel like it's realistic to continue to do the things that you love and not cultivate that part of your branding, social
No.
media? No. Okay.
No, I think there are very few people who could do that. And they have to reach a certain level.
Yeah.
Like a Dave Chappelle can do that.
Yes, because he reached that level pre social media.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pre social media, and because he has such a following. And
Yeah.
Oprah could do that. If Oprah wanted to disappear off of social media.
True.
Like, I think there's certain, a Beyonce every now and then pops up and gives you some pictures with no caption.
And she don't follow nobody. She just.
Exactly. She's like, you gonna take this picture.
Yeah.
Boom. But she, there are a few celebrities and I think people who can do that. I think if you're a freelancer, if you're an entrepreneur, social media is just a part of your of the DNA of success now at this point.
Oh man.
And it's difficult because I work other projects as well. So like behind the scenes and that sort of thing. So I don't have the bandwidth during the day to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Reel. And just be normal.
And be healthy and happy. Because that's what really matters.
Right. And then you're trying to respond to everyone's comments. And then every now and then you get that troll with the picture.
It's that's lot. Not real.
It's a lot.
It's a whole extra job. Listen, I'm trying to figure out the way, because to me, from what I'm hearing you say, from my own experience, it feels necessary. If you want to be successful in 2021 at something other than a 9-to-5, and I don't mean that working at the grocery store. I mean anything, right? You got a job that somebody pays you, then fine.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, a lot of times, you got that construction going on, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they're doing construction upstairs. I apologize.
All good. Usually it's my kids.
It's not gas or anything. It's not me.
That's a good clarification.
Just want to let people know.
But I do feel like social media is this horrible, necessary thing. And the horrible, I think social media has a lot of gifts, right? You can certainly populate your feed with only beautiful things. And I mean beautiful from the inside perspective, right? You can populate your feed with therapy and positivity and fitness and yada, 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 and just be motivating. But, the whole algorithm is designed to keep us there forever and trap us into seeing all the things we don't want to see. And that's where it becomes challenging, in addition to what you said about the trolls. But it is this necessary part of building any brand,
absolutely.
Cultivating an audience.
I've met with so many different casting people who love me.
Yeah.
And they're like, you have the skill set, but your following is not 6 figures.
Mm.
And I've been told that multiple times. And I'm like, well, I could buy my following because people do that. Or you could say you want to introduce new talent, and that is me. I can't. But there's only so much you can do. So that gets frustrating and you feel like your hands are tied.
Yeah.
And then if you take a social media break, then the algorithm will also stop showing you as frequently in the feed. Part. So it's like you really fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Okay. Yeah. So, I think you're doing some incredible work, and I know how important it is to you to interview isn't the word I want to use, but have conversations, facilitate conversations with interesting people. Because I won't say celebrities either, because that's not what it's about, but with interesting people, for the masses, right? I would say if I understand you, you don't care the platform as much as I want to reach an audience who cares to have real conversation and hear real people talk. And I think you're really gifted at that. So, and I think that you're doing amazing. And I'm hearing so much self-doubt. So I'm trying to pour into you, but ask you how did you get in this position? Tell us a little bit about, falling into it with Essence. And because you went from marketing to interviewing, and then did you imagine you'd be in this position today?
No, I did not. But as I get older, I realize everything in my life, the things that I did not plan have always worked out for me far greater than anything I've ever planned for myself. But this is not nowhere near what I thought I would be doing. I was working as an integrated marketing. I was freelancing at the time, actually, at Essence. Because I worked full time there, left, I went to Vogue, and I had started freelancing because I was working on other projects. So I freelanced at like Vogue for a while in Complex, and then I was back freelancing at Essence in the marketing department. And then they were launching a digital show, which was really innovative because there weren't like daytime digital talk shows at the time, and all of the Time Inc. properties were doing it. People in Espanol and In Style and all of that, and two of the marketing execs said, "We think you should audition a host," and I was like, "No, that's not what I do. I don't."
When was this?
No, this was 2014. Okay. This was 2014. And I was like, that's not what I do. That's not what my student loans say I do. That was not in my plan. I wanted to create fashion campaigns. I had my MBA. I even went back to school to Parsons specifically to study fashion marketing and learn that industry and get that Parsons stamp of approval. I was like, that's just not what I do. And I went to the audition, and some other folks were there. I didn't even have makeup on. There was like a picture on my Instagram. I have like a hat to the side. I have my laptop. I had an RFP due, and which is like a marketing proposal that was due. And the moment that light came on, I was like, "Oh, damn! This is what I'm supposed to do with my life."
Wow.
That I literally felt that. I was like, I always thought that didn't exist. You hear celebrities say it, and you're like, "Yeah, you could say that because you make millions of dollars. Of course, you feel like this is what you're supposed to do, right?" But I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do." And then I said, "Okay. You have to put certain things in place because if you're going to do this, then you need to jump fully in." So I cut back doing marketing. I was doing the show full time. And then I was getting calls here and there, commentate on this and appear on this. And things just slowly started evolving. Every time I do something to the next level, though, I have this like anxiety attack, though. Like the first time I did CNN, I was like, can you really do this? ABC, I did their Emmys for Your Consideration Day for Grey's Anatomy and Blackish. And I was like, I'm literally standing on the Disney at ABC Disney. And I'm like this, holding my little cards. And Tracy Ellis Ross looked at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I've interviewed her before for Essence. She's like, "You okay?" And I said, I don't even remember what I said. So it was something along the lines of like being a little nervous or questioning, I was like, I'm a little nervous. She's like, "Oh, you got this." Her and Jennifer Lewis, they're like, "Oh, you got this." And I was like, okay.
I feel like that's a good "you got this." Tracy Ellis Ross and Jennifer Lewis. Yeah. I can hear that.
Yeah. And I was like, but even going back to feeling invisible, I remember I'd interviewed her for Essence and she was great. We had like a great segment and all of that. Fast forward, that was like maybe 2 years prior to this Emmys day. We're all in the green room and all of Blackish is in there and Grey's Anatomy. And then like just all the ABC shows are coming in. And I'm standing in the corner and she waves to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, she remembers me. She even sees me in this room. Like I always just feel like I'm like, I don't know, like an FBI agent. I don't know.
Yo, it's also it's a weird industry, a weird place, right? Because it's easy to feel that way. I'll put it that way. It's easy to feel that way.
And because there's so many. There's so many.
Yeah. Okay. And so you never imagined yourself to be in this position, still doing interviews now, or what?
I always felt I would be doing interviews, but it's like acting. You have some actresses and actors who they'll book 3 or 4 movies and then they may or may not work for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And then the next movie they do all of a sudden is an Oscar winner. Like, it's the ebb and flow of the industry that I wasn't prepared to get back into. When I was dancing as a professional dancer, like you're used to that. You go to an audition, sometimes you book something, you can hear no 8 times a day. It's a muscle that you train.
Yeah.
And then I lost that practice in corporate America. And so now people are judging, they're judging me. It's you asked the wrong question. You said the wrong thing. It's not Dana pretending to be someone else or being able to hide behind my computer. It's literally me, so.
You feel more vulnerable.
Definitely more vulnerable. And I thought my career would be in a different place and space. So, it creates some self-doubt. And sometimes, especially in entertainment, you're asked to compromise yourself in certain ways that you may or may not be willing to do. So it makes you question a lot of things.
Mm.
Did that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, but I want to hear I want to hear more. So I want to know from you, what are you most confident in?
I'm most, ironically, I'm most confident in once the camera goes on, I show up.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that I'm going to show up and do my very, very best, and I'm good at what I do.
Mhm.
That I'm very, very confident in.
Mhm.
It's after the cameras are gone, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know. It's a drug. It's a drug. It's
Yeah.
you have this high,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, well now what?
Yeah. Is it like the big picture of what does it all mean? Like, I feel like we're crafting careers at this point in
Yeah.
our whatever. Are we millennials? I don't consider myself a millennials, but whatever is right before them. But I feel like 2021 and our
Hmm.
age group, like we're creating careers. And so there's no clear path. And that can lead to this either like excitement, anything's possible,
Right.
or what's next? I'm so nervous.
Absolutely. And then even going back to the social media aspect of it, what you see on social media is not always real.
Yeah.
So you may think, okay, well, there's not really a playbook, but if I kind of look at so and so, their playbook, and that's not even that's curated for what they
Mm-hmm.
want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know now that I enjoy a good red carpet here and there, but I just know I want to have more meaningful conversations that can have a little bit more of an impact.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily like a social impact as much as just like an impact to someone who's watching it who might
Yeah.
feel encouraged or empowered to take the next step on their journey in their dream. I think that that's what's more meaningful to me right now
Mm-hmm.
and what I want to do. I love to know what someone, so, oh, who are you wearing? That's fun. But how impactful is that? And that's, that's just me personally. It's not a diss
Yeah.
to anyone else who does it. It's just, I'm like, okay.
That's getting stale anyway. I feel like I don't remember the last time I saw those conversations even really happening. And I know they do happen on red carpets, but
Mm-hmm.
there's so much
Right.
more now.
So much more, but also too, there aren't events aren't happening like that anymore. So how relevant is that content anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Ciao. That's very true. Because it doesn't matter what you're wearing because I'm not going anywhere. So I ain't going to go buy it.
Right. I'm only dressed from the waist up anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So I learned, not that I've
Okay.
seen them all, but that you have over 20 tattoos.
Yeah, I have a lot. Probably like closer to 30.
Wow.
Like
okay. That. So wait, what do tattoos mean to you? Like, when did you get your first one? What was it? What did it mean? Or maybe, look, you might be getting them all because you're just like, I like art. Okay. I like art.
No, I got my first one when I think I was like 20 years old, 19 or 20. I don't even know why I got it, to be honest with you. It's on my lower back, a classic.
Is that the tramp stamp that they?
It's totally a tramp stamp.
Okay. I'm not labeling. Totally, I was just curious if that's
no.
Okay.
It's totally fine. It's totally cliche. It's Japanese symbols. Totally cliche in that regard. Like, I don't have a connection, but the two symbols are strength and talent.
Okay.
And so but all of my tattoos are meaningful, and they mark different stages or aspects of my life. Yeah. After the first one, I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Really?
But they're addictive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was
like, I'm never doing this again.
So, and I've always wanted
Do you
more.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did I know that? I didn't know that.
I think you know about the one. I forget about the other one. So I have one on the back of my neck that says love. I often forget because I don't see it, but it's the first one. It has a lot of meaning to me. I got it when I was 25. I got it on my 25th birthday. And my nephew was born.
That hurts though, right?
It did, but I don't remember it being like, it did not hurt enough where I was like, I'm never doing this again. I was just like, oh, okay. But also I rationalized my whole life, anything painful. I was like, well, I'm going to have babies one day. So I have to take this. Like, I have to figure out how to be okay with this tattoo on my neck because I'm going to have a baby one day.
I can do that.
I need to be able to toughen up. Fair. That was my logic with everything. So yeah, I don't remember thinking that. And then I got one on my ring finger. Tommy and I both have one there. And I want more, but I'm super particular about where.
And that's fair. People don't know I have so many until like because they're on the inside of my arms.
Yes, love.
Yeah,
that's funny on the inside. Are they all there? Like, where are all the places? Tell me all the places.
No, So on the back of each ankle,
Mhm.
so my Achilles on each side.
That hurts, girl. What?
One of them I got while I was on answering emails on the phone. Like I have a very high tolerance for pain. My friends make fun of me all the time. One was on the back of my calf. That was my New York City Marathon number from the first marathon.
Wow.
I have like several on my arms. Like this one is an apple from when I left New York. I lived in New York 16 years. And so did that. Like different, I don't know, all over the place. But I've gotten them in different countries like Ecuador, Budapest, New Zealand, South Africa. So just different places. My ribs, my shoulder.
Ribs? Are you crazy? How are you going to talk to me about the back of my neck and you over here getting bone tattoos?
I have one in the middle of my chest.
Oh my gosh. I can't fathom. But that sounds beautiful. Like tattoos are just so beautiful to me. Yeah. Love. Okay. And also you just casually mentioning marathons. I feel like you're so accomplished. You're so, I wonder, do you consider yourself disciplined?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do, because I think I had zero intention of ever running a marathon ever in life. And then my friend Ursula Stevens, she was going to run to raise money for Amber and Cece Sabathia's foundation, the Pitch In Foundation. And she was like, so I feel like I need somebody to do this with me. And I think you would do it with me. And I was like, you signed me up to do what? That was not, and I've never even done like a 5K.
Wow. Really? You just jumped into a marathon. How much time? How much training?
I started in Marchish April, and then the marathon is the first Sunday in November.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But like, I tried to run a mile the first time. I said, oh, hell no, I'm not going to make it. And then it's 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
And it's running at least 5 days a week. And one day you're doing 7 miles, one day you're doing, and then 10 miles. And then eventually though, it's like, oh, I'm going to knock these 3 miles out. Like it just.
Yeah, that's amazing. And honestly, just even listening to you say that, not that it's rocket science, it's the brilliance is in the training. Like
it's in the training.
The consistency, the discipline. Yeah. Like if you don't even go through with it on the day of, you've gained so much.
I'm going to do it.
Oh, I know.
Once you get to that point. But I honestly doubted whether I could do it up until like, it may have been like 2 to 3 weeks before the marathon.
Wow.
The team, we ran from New Jersey across the GW Bridge and all the way down the west side to like almost Brooklyn, which was like a little over 18 miles.
Yeah.
And it's not until I did that and I was like, oh, you could really do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like discipline is a really important part of life.
Absolutely.
And I know I struggle with it. I mean, I'm using discipline and maybe consistency interchangeably, but I definitely know I struggle.
Really? You've done so much. It takes discipline to build your company. Like,
yeah, no, you're right. I hear you. It does. But I think that things should be, could be, would be happening a lot faster and with a lot more strategery if I were more disciplined. And I think my life in the last 5 years has been extremely eventful. Like literally, Tommy and I got married in 2015. We had Brooks in 2016. We had twins in 2018. And this is like all while doing those other things that that you were referencing. And so for me, I'm just now in 2021 coming out of a pandemic or still in a pandemic, trying to be like, what's my normal? What is what should my day-to-day look like to create balance and peace for myself, to create success, not just fall into it. And I mean, fall into it from the standpoint of like, it's not like we created Black Love to be like, this is going to be successful. Like we created it strategically, right? Putting things in place so that it could be successful. We created it because we felt like it was important. But how can I structure my life to consciously create success?
Yes. And look, my hat's off to those people who can create content every single day.
Yeah, girl. That part.
I don't have that. Now, when it comes to that, I don't feel like I have that many compelling things to say every day.
I do, because I've seen you, but go ahead. I want to see you
like,
every single day on social media. I'm just saying.
I feel like some of the things, I don't know. I'm like, do I have something to say every day? And then part of me is like, Dana, you need to wake up extra early and you need to record. And then you need to post something, which is why I did a couple of months ago, I did this anonymous survey and sent it to some of my friends. I was like, can you just ask me questions that I can answer? This pressure to constantly churn things out. And it's like, and then I'm my worst critic. I'm like, is this quality or is this just quantity?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't, differentiate sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know.
Okay, here's what I'll say. What we've decided, you and me on this call, is that social media, specifically, I would say Instagram. I mean, probably Twitter, but I'm never there. So that's not, it's a whole leap to try to get me over there. But is a critical part of professional growth in 2021, right? You will have more opportunities if an audience and potential high bosses, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential, whatever, money
the
givers,
decision makers.
Yes. See you active, see you engaging. So I think we have to hold each other accountable because we are in fields where we can't afford to just like sit back and do nothing.
That is true.
And I think, and I follow all these people who like give tips and so I'm going to start sending you things. This girl posted the other day, she did 6 reels in 15 minutes and her tips on how she did it. And I was like, that's totally doable. I don't know if I could do it, but that's totally doable. Whatever. I'm going to send it to you. But I do think that there are ways that we, you and me, and anyone who's listening who's like, oh, social media, but my business is suffering, right? Like we can be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more consistent, and a little bit more present. So we have to hold each other accountable.
Okay, I can try to do that.
Okay, so that means when you ain't seen me posting a while, you're going to be like, Cody, come on now. Come on.
I'm just going to call you out. I'll be like, Cody says I have to post this.
Yeah, I'll take it. Whatever gets the job done.
Like Cody says,
okay, whatever gets the job done. Then when you get that next job, they're gonna be like, "Ooh, you've just been so active on social media lately. We have to have you."
I know, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" It just, I don't know.
You got this, Dana.
I don't even know what I would say.
That's okay. We're gonna figure it out.
Like sometimes it's just like random things that enter my head, and I'm just like,
and I love it. I love your random things.
It makes me. I
totally do.
I was like, they make me sound crazy. I don't know.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So I want to ask you what we call beyond the persona questions.
Ew.
So what is something that you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago?
Being kinder to myself.
Ooh, that part.
Yeah.
I get it. Are you doing this now?
I'm a little bit. Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm giving myself more grace. But I wish I would have done that. That as well as being okay with letting the confidence I have on certain things be more open. Like being able to say, I am good at this. I wish I would have done that. But 5 years ago, I was just in such an unhealthy place. Like I was coming out of a really bad relationship. I was, starting a new career and trying to balance that. Like, what does that look like? What is this new voice? Like, what does this mean to all of a sudden be on camera?
Yeah.
Like it's different. So I was trying to figure out a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, social media once a week, I think you should post something and say, I'm trying to be more kind to myself, and then say something nice about yourself. A, it forces you to do it. And B, people will engage with it and you're encouraging other women to be kind to themselves.
Because you know what I discovered? There's an assumption because I'm bald or have a little stubble is that I have this
confidence,
infinite amount of confidence.
100%.
And it's like, but I don't, or I struggle with it, or I have my highs and lows, and maybe, you know what, maybe I will talk about this and post this today. Shout out Cody. But it didn't happen that way. When I first cut my hair, it was February 2012. I beat myself up a lot. I hated the way I looked. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. I picked myself apart in ways that were just like, where the hell is this even coming from?
Yeah.
And now it's just a part of who I am. Like I don't even think about it. I genuinely do not think about it. But people ask me all the time, why do you wear your hair like that?
Yeah.
Or I wish I could do that. I was at a baseball game on Sunday and a guy literally said, you choose to wear your hair like that? And I was like, yes. He's like, oh, I didn't mean anything bad. I was like,
Yeah, I'm like, wait, somebody that you know or just stranger?
a stranger. Like strangers do that all the time. Men and women, all ethnicities, ask me all the time. It's like a big topic of conversation, and it's something I no longer think about.
Yeah. Well, okay. I definitely can see it though, because I think that people look at women cutting their hair as brave.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're doing that, then you have an infinite level of confidence.
Or they think I'm in crisis.
Yes. Wow.
It's honestly one of the two.
That's interesting how people attach feelings to your head.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
It's people who are just meeting me, that they think I'm in crisis, or I'm asked a lot if I'm sick. I'm asked that a lot, but I'm always in like a lip or a heel. That's just like me.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. So then it becomes, oh, you're super confident. Meanwhile, I could be in my head tearing myself apart about why I did or didn't get a job, or what I may or may not do, or which guy didn't return my phone call, or whatever.
Well, that's okay. We found Bay now. We found him. Okay. What is something that you can do today that you were not capable of a year ago?
Ooh.
Yeah. Besides leave the house.
I know, right? Basically. Meditation.
That's huge. Wait, that's no small thing. Don't move on. How did you start meditating? Because I'd be struggling.
People have been telling me to meditate forever. A lot of my friends who know me and know that I struggle with anxiety, they've been telling me to meditate. They're like, just journal, just meditate. And it's hard when you're a person that really struggles with anxiety, or you've really struggled with depression, to have someone just tell you to write it out. You're like, it's bigger than that, or it feels so much bigger than that. So I've always been dismissive of it, or I'll sit there and I'll try to meditate, and like 10 seconds go by and it feels like 10 hours went by. But I've gotten much better. I can do like 10, sometimes 15 minutes in the morning.
That's great.
To just try to calm myself down.
Yeah.
And
that's no small thing.
No, it's not easy. It's been very helpful. I find that I handle stress a lot better now because of it.
I know I need to meditate. I know I do.
Guided meditations have been helpful.
Yeah. Last week I had such a rough week that actually this was Monday. I sat on the floor and I listened to Deepak Chopra 6-minute morning meditation on Spotify.
And that's okay. And that's totally okay. I have a white noise app on my cell phone, and it'll play like the air conditioning, or it'll play like the rainforest.
Yeah.
And I'll put my phone on do not disturb, or I've now forced myself. I was literally just sharing this with somebody else, to do it in the shower, because in the shower you can't bring an electronic with you. To
meditate in the shower? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, to meditate, or I'll just like try to clear my mind.
Am I the only person that gets in the shower and I'll do the things I need to do, and then I'll be like, wait, did I wash myself yet? Like, you know how you might wash your body and then shave and then wash your face, and then I'm like, wait, I don't remember. Did I wash myself? Did I do that yet? And then I'll do it again, and I'll be like, wait, this feels familiar. I did it. This is the second time.
I do that too. I did that before we hopped on this interview. I was like, wait, did I? Well, or sometimes I'll wash my face. Like I'll lather, and then I'll wash my body, and then I'll get out of the shower. I still have like foam on my face.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. Oh man.
Or I'll shave one leg and not the other.
Really?
I've done that.
No, that's one thing. Because here's the thing. Is that the shaving and the face washing, there's evidence, right? Like for me, I have a face wipe. I have these daily facial wipes. So if I have used it, there's evidence that it was used. So I'm like, oh, I did that, right? Because I don't remember, but I did it. The leg, you can look down and be like, okay, I missed that one. Let me get that. But the washing of your body, if you put the loofah in the same place afterward, you're just like, did it happen?
Did it happen? You don't know if it happened. I can't remember, but sometimes like I'm so like rushed or anxious or about things in my day, I'll totally forget.
Yeah. I feel you. I can see how maybe taking a couple of minutes to meditate in the shower is probably a good look for me.
Or just breathe. Like just breathe. Just just even breathing. Like I realized too that I hold my breath a lot.
Yeah.
Like just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even that can be cathartic.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna start doing that too. Okay. So what failure or it's like failure is always a tough word, but like what disappointment have you learned the most from?
Oh gosh. I don't learn from the most.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've had so many disappointments. That I've learned from the most.
Yep.
Okay. When I moved to LA,
Mm-hmm.
which was all by accident. It was not when I left Essence Live. The goal was to travel. I bought this camera and I was just going to travel for 1 year. I was just going to interview women and find great stories. And I had a potential project in LA that came up that was going to be really, really big. And I ended up staying in LA. I didn't get the job. Now what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And spiritually, I'm like, well, God, you brought me here for a reason. I'm supposed to be here right now, but it was such a struggle emotionally, mentally, and financially for the next couple of years. I was like, what am I supposed to be learning from this? It was just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Even like getting a job offer in the morning and having them rescind it that afternoon.
Say what now?
Like crazy. And I was like, oh, I accept. And then like it was just so many crazy things happening. And what I learned from that phase of my life is that I'm going to always be all right. It gets me emotional just thinking about it. I'm going to always be all right. I have, Cody, I have an amazing support system of friends and family who love me and pray for me. I'm going to always be all right. So even as I'm in this period of transition right now, trying to figure out what's next and what does next look like, I know I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be all right. Now, God could hurry up. Because, I mean, not to be emotional, but it does fill me in that way. It does fill me in that way. Yeah.
And not to, this is a loaded thing that I'm about to say. And I've known you for a while. I've seen you from afar and I've seen you up close. But you kind of give me Tabitha Brown vibes. And, we
That's
recently.
a huge compliment.
And I mean it, though. We recently had our first ever women's wellness retreat where Tabitha spoke with, she sat down with Melissa Fredericks and they chatted about her journey, both of their journeys. And both in the sense of your energy, your goodness, you're like always going to say what's on your mind, but never be hateful or mean, right? Like you're just positive and kind and funny and entertaining, right? Naturally. And that part reminds me of her. Right. And then just the frequent, like we've all had it, but just even the way you're describing your journey and how difficult it's been. And just hearing from her this when we had our event at the end of August, just about how arriving so much later than she planned to, arriving at the quote unquote destination, but being consistent about praying for it and being specific about praying for it. And having people around who, loved her and always feeling like I'm all right. Yes. So I think to me that says something. You don't have to be like Tabitha Brown to be successful, but you are truly giving me full on Auntie Tab vibes. And so
that's a huge compliment because I just adore her. And I adore, because, I think just trying to hold on to grace and your kindness and your sense of humor. And I'm just a naturally goofy person, and just hold on to those things when you're taking hits can be hard. Yeah. It can be really, really difficult. And I'm thankful, even for the rough moments. I am thankful. And I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there's a certain level of comfort and courage in knowing you're going to be all right. Yeah. And if I'm not here to preach spirituality to anyone, but if you believe that you're a spiritual being having this human experience, you have to know that you were put here for something, and that you're being brought on this path for something. Yeah. So that's what also helps me keep going. It's just like, okay, what we gonna do today? Because the rent is due. The phone is not ringing, and you're pouring so much of yourself into certain things, and that may or may not come to fruition,
I do know.
Yes.
Well, I think that for me, what's important is sharing so that others don't feel alone, because what you're describing, I feel, what you're describing, Tabitha Brown has been through, and that everyone's seen that journey. And so I thank you so much for sharing your path to success / growth / we are happy, but we want to know what's next, and we're working toward that. It's important. So I could do this all day with you, but I know you're busy, and so we have to wrap it up. And before we do that, what is next? What is the next thing that we can look out for besides you being extremely active on social media?
Well, I actually am working on an interview series on social media of just some people that I find, like you said, not necessarily even celebrities, but I just find really interesting who have carved out their own paths.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start that in the next couple of weeks, and I'm working a little bit behind the scenes on different, like trying to produce different projects. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe I'll grow a ponytail. I don't know. I do not know, to be completely honest. And as an over planner, I think for the first time in my life, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Well, this series sounds amazing. And so I can't wait for it. And it'll be great. So y'all better keep an eye out, okay, on Instagram at Just Dana Blair. And that's BLAIR at Just Dana Blair. Thank you all for joining us today and making Dana Blair your new BFF, because she's already my new BFF. Make sure to tell a friend about the podcast so they can make a new BFF too. See you next time.